Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Professor P.K Ghosh, Professor Chakravarti, my esteemed colleague, Professor Rashmi Rekha, Dr. Rizvi, and Dr. Manisha, and my dear students. It is a matter of great pleasure that Lucknow University is celebrating centenary year, and to commemorate the occasion, Department of Medieval and Modern History has organized a series of special lectures by eminent historians. So it is an honor today that we are having an eminent scholar and historian, Professor P.K Ghosh, and he is an illustrious alumni of Lucknow University also. And today Professor Ghosh will enlighten us about the beautiful heritage of Lucknow University. So with these words, now I request Professor Rashmi Rekha ji to present a bouquet to Professor Ghosh. Welcome.
Shama Mahmood and Dr. Rizvi and Dr. Manisha and my dear budding historians. I'm feeling extremely blessed today that I'm here, still alive, to deliver this centenary lecture. I have seen this university for at least last 5 decades as a student, as a researcher scholar, and finally as a teacher. So I feel extremely blessed that I'm here to deliver this centenary lecture today. Now, like me, there's another edifice here on the campus which is known as Lal Baradari. It has also witnessed for last 200 years the different shades of life of this university. And I think she's constantly crying and requesting people in a very whispering manner to save her, but no one is bothering for her preservation, conservation. And it is very important that this building should be preserved, as it is a heritage building. And heritage is our identity. Remember, dear budding historians, the heritage is our national identity. So never forget to preserve your heritage. Now, to start with today's lecture, Whispering Reminiscences, Lal Baradari of Lucknow University. Now, please change. Now, this is the chronology of the rulers of Akbar, right from Burhan al-Mulk. Just wait. Now, the Treaty of 1765 is a landmark in the history of our country, because the British East India Company started tightening its hold on the rulers of Awadh. And Lord Hastings, he decided to separate the Shia and Sunni population of this Awadh region. In 1819, he decided to declare Nawab Ghaziuddin Haidar as an independent king. And thereby, he wanted to separate the Shia and Sunni population of this country. I mean that the Shias owed their allegiance to the Mughal emperor, and the Sunnis owed their allegiance to the Mughal emperor, and the Shias owed their allegiance to the ruler of Awadh, King Ghaziuddin Haidar. He was given same title as the title of Ahmad Shah, the Mughal emperor. Politically. Therefore, they concentrated more on the cultural activities. And they laid beautiful mosques, beautiful edifices, beautiful gardens. And Lucknow was known for its garden, and you know this, there are several gardens where there. This Nazar Bagh, Kaisar Bagh, Sikandar Bagh, all baghs were here. And therefore, Lucknow was compared, and it was known as Paris of the East. It was compared with Paris. Haidar, as per the Awadh Gazetteer of 1877, Ghaziuddin Haidar, as the first king of Awadh, decided to lay a beautiful, luxurious garden on the northern side of River Gomti. Now please change it. Now Constantinople or any city in India appears to me as striking as this. The more I gaze, the more its beauty grows. Here's the map. Now, the architects, they used to select a particular point for their gardens or edifices. Now here, you can see the contour. Why they have selected Badshah Bagh here? Because from this contour, the level is high, and from there, if you look at the River Gomti, its expanse is very wide, so it looks more beautiful. So therefore, they selected this particular point for laying that garden or Badshah Bagh. समझ रहे हैं ना? जैसे जैसे आप ऊंची जगह पे आप खड़े होते हैं, तो वहां से रिवर की व्यू जो है ना बहुत वाइड दिखाई देता है, इसलिए वहां पे उस जगह को उन्होंने सिलेक्ट किया. Please change. Now Ghaziuddin Haidar named this garden after his consort Badshah Begum, and that's the reason it's known as Badshah Bagh. It is named after his consort Begum, Badshah Begum. Muhammad Taqi Ahmad, in his book Tariq-e-Begum, Badshah Begum, writes that the king laid a beautiful garden on the northern side of River Gomti, and he spent his Amani for building the two gateways here. That Amani means his personal income. From his personal revenue, he built those two gates that is still extant here. His son, Ghaziuddin's son, took over the administration of this garden, laying out of this garden, which was not like uncalled for interference, but he did it. And he appointed Raja Bakhtar Singh as in charge of this garden, and he allocated 35 lakhs of rupees for this project. Laying out of this garden by Prince Nasiruddin Ahmad. Now, I must tell you something about this book, Tariq-e-Salatin-e-Awadh. Now, this book was written under the pressure of the British government. I got another copy, and this was with Mr. Rais Agha, the editor of Aaj. He had passing through a very humble condition, but he was very fond of me, and I used to visit him regularly, and he used to come to me. And he was a very courteous typical Lucknowi Muslim. And he had a mine of manuscripts. And one manuscript, that was this Tariq-e-Salatin Awad, that was the original copy, where this Kamaluddin Ahmad had given a different version. It was his own version, and where he had, someone is coming, please come in. Professor Nayyar Masood, he requested me to write a letter to Fakhruddin Ahmad Academy for grant to publish that book. And I personally, and my resident Nayyar Masood Sahab had come, and we drafted a letter, and that was sent to him, and he was given grant to publish that book, and it was published. And the copy I had, unfortunately, I gave to one of my unworthy students, who took it and never returned. I have lost that book. And later I tried, Rais Aga Sahab used to tell me, Ghosh Sahab, मेरी किताबों का मेरे manuscripts very bad condition. And जब हम गए वहाँ पे, तो उनके बेटों ने मिलने से इनकार कर दिया. They didn't even allow to see the library, that book, Tariq-e-Salatin Awad has mentioned that in the midst of the garden, a pavilion was built, and that is Ilaka. Now, pavilion, जिसके 12 दर हैं, 12 दर मतलब 12 द्वार. There was all along, there was, corridor, and there were 12 entrances, and that's the reason it was a pavilion with 12 doors. Paintings, beautiful paintings on the ceiling, but that was completely destroyed gradually. It was completely neglected. I have seen people spitting on the walls. So this is the condition of this, which was a beautiful building. And I have also seen, I will talk about it, the hammam and the beautiful lotus inside with a fountain jet in the middle. The main palace was Mubarak Manzil. Mubarak Manzil. And this Baradari is a part of that Mubarak Manzil that was made of white marble, beautiful white marble, not in extant. Not in extant. Now please, I will start here. This is what you call registrar's office, our present registrar's office, probably. So this is no more, and this is one of the most important buildings now. It is not to be seen. Let us move. The Mubarak Manzil is also not to be seen. Zafoni. And here the name of this painting is Colonel Murdad, Colonel Badshah. Fenipa had come along with the entourage of Lord William Bentinck and his wife to Lucknow. And they halted at Kanpur. They were given a grand reception, and from there they came to Lucknow. They were lodged in Chhatr Manzil, the palace of King Nasiruddin Haidar, and then it was in January 1831, and they had come here to celebrate the New Year's. And there Fenibaum says that after that, Lord and Lady William Bentinck, they left Lucknow, but she stayed back and she decided to visit this Badshah garden. And she wrote that she came to the Badshah garden from Chhatr Manzil to Badshah garden through the boat bridge. And she writes, we crossed the river to a new house and garden built by the present king. Present king means Nasiruddin Haidar. Called Badshah Bagh, of which I must give a description, it being the most luxurious palace I have seen in India. A large space has been enclosed as a garden within a high wall. It contains 3 houses, just now I told about those houses, and 2 gateways. The first house is the most delightful. This is the Mubarak Manzil. All you can wish for in such a climate as this. Beautiful rooms with 6 fountains playing in them, and everything in fairy land style. Then such a hammam or a steam bath containing rooms heating to different temperatures. You know, they used to have sauna bath in those days. Can you imagine this? The heat of each increasing until you arrive at the steam bath itself. This is sauna bath, steam bath itself. The apartments are beautiful of white, variegated marble, and the roofs arch. The rooms were so delightful. We felt every inclination to remain in the hammam. The temperature was so luxurious. So hammam, I wish I were there. So beautiful hammam. Crossing from this palace to the center of the garden, we entered another elegant building supporting on white marble pillars, beautifully. This house is built of marble, covered with flower work of pounded tack, which has exactly the appearance of silver, giving an Eastern style to the palace. There are 2 handsome gateways, the steam engine to supply the foundations, and a superb tiger cage. He had kept a tiger in a cage. And every luxury of life may be contained within the walls of this garden. It is at present scarcely furnished, but displays great taste and beauty. This is the description of Ferry Park. Please, on the main road, University Road. Now you see that the European influence, the fringes at the top, then the arch, inside recessed arch you have, this is a recessed arch, foliated with flower. Then you have this capital here, then the British influence, the pillars, then cornices, this is again British influence, the ribbon fringes, these are ribbon fringes, again European influence, and at the apex you have flower, a bunch of flower at the apex. Now these are blind, then they are double storied, you can see the flanks from here and here. And there is a spiral staircase, but that is still there, but the university people, they use a straight staircase now, but there is a spiral staircase, that goes right up to the top. Yes, please change. Please change. This is the inside. First floor. Now this is rounded arch, change, can you see the change? Rounded arch, European influence. Rounded arch, then pillars, and this Venetian doors. Please change. Now these medals, these are blinds. And the walls are not plain but fluted, fluting walls. प्लेन नहीं है, ऐसे ऐसे किनारा बना हुआ है, उसको फ्लूटिंग कहते हैं, फ्लूटिंग वॉल्स. Change. And this is the pediment, Roman pediment.
ये जो है ये रोमन इन्फ्लुएंस है स्कूल, और ये स्क्रीन पैरापेट कहते हैं मुड़ेड़, व्हाट यू कॉल मुड़ेड़, इट्स पैरापेट। प्लीज चेंज। ये देखिए मेडलियन से साफ दिख रही है। दिस इज अ छतरी एट द टॉप फ्लोर, छत पे है ये, और स्पाइरल स्टेट कैसे ऊपर आने का। Now this is the next gate. The Awadh motif, double mouth fishes. This is the motif of Awadh. And this is the bunch of flower at the apex. This motif you will find in all the buildings of Awadh. This typical bunch of flower. And this is the engraved arch. Engraved matlab foliated. Not plain arch, but foliated arch. Now that these gates were there were guards posted here, and then they recorded who entered the garden and who departed from the garden. And secondly, there used to be Nawat. When the king and the members of the royal family entered, your Nawat was played. And from this place, it was made or built in such a way that from here at 90-degree angle you can see the Lal Baradari. Please change. This is the condition of the walls, the rear section. There used to be, these are European arches. Churches में आपने देखा होगा इस तरह के arches. And they are lined now with brick blocks. This is the condition. This you can see a beautiful arch here, recessed arch, and see the setting of the bricks. They were set in header and stretcher method. एक ब्रिक यू रखा, उसके ठीक ऊपर दूसरा ब्रिक, ताकि दूसरे को वो एक दूसरे को बांध के रखे। अगर हम स्ट्रेट ऐसे पुट करें तो वो लूज हो जाएगा। But here you see that yes, this is header and stretcher method bricks. Please change. This is the front portion of this gate. ये देखिए engraved arch बहुत टूट गया है। ऊपर this screened parapet था, now it's no more, and you can make out that it is not a single story building, but it's a double story building. Can you make out from here? It's double story. Now you can see the flower here, a bunch of flower. This is a typical motif of Awadh. And see the beautifully done, what you call, this is stucco work. Stucco work is good chipkaया stucco. And this is recessed arch. अंदर को धसा हुआ है. This is recessed arch. This is the another arch. This plain arch. Now this is another side of the building. Then you can see the British influence here. Complete British building. Thick pillars. ये ऊपर capital है to hold the top. इतने अच्छे buildings हैं जिनको preserve नहीं किया जा रहा है. I feel so bad about it. चलिए आगे चलिए. Now this is the discontinued boundary wall of Peshawar. And if you, I'm researching here, and if you go to the, change the slide, made this wall for their own convenience. This is the canal, this is the original one, with oval-shaped bridge. You can see this. Now this Lal Baradari. Now there you can see, they are all blocked with bricks. It was all open initially. This was a bank here. Now you can see there is a Tarkhana, underground chamber. Please wait. There are holes here to go for the light and air inside the Tarkhana chamber. So it is built on an elevated ground, or on an elevated platform, rather to be more precise. Elevated platform, because you have underground chamber here, underneath. So these are two pavilions, double story pavilions, or Burj bhi keh sakte hain, double-story pavilions. Now this is octagonal, and it has a octagonal neck, and then you have a dome. Because in a square, you cannot raise a dome. It has to be octagonal. So, this is octagonal. They have made octagonal drum. This is called drum. And on that drum, this dome was raised. And it has an inverted lotus. Inverted lotus ulta. And this is called, ऊपर जो है यहाँ पे छतरी थी, उसको कहते हैं finial. That is called finial. On two sides, you have this burjes. On the two ends, it's a rectangular building, and on two sides, you have two burjes. This pavilions, double-story pavilions. This is the rear side of the building, and here is the hammam. Hammam यहाँ पे था, इसको मैंने देखा. And here there was a beautiful, now it has just gone under the dust, probably, or someone has removed it, I don't know. So it was a beautiful big lotus, white marble with fountain in the middle. And I'd seen it. And even now we have discovered the ducks. White ducks are to be seen even now. देखो एक जन हमने जो उसको खींचा भी है, इसको चेंज करो. आगे. You see the pillars. You see beautifully carved pillars. Chalo. Here we found ducks in the hammam. यहाँ पे छोटे ये ducks हैं, ये देखिए यहाँ पे मैंने पॉइंट किया है, ये छेद है ducks से वहाँ पानी आने के लिए. This is the brick of 1860, dated 1860. I have taken a picture of this brick. Now this is the condition of the present part. It might fall down any time. Now this is the front portion where you have the field, this what you call this games field. Samne wala jo hai. Now this used to be the staff club. Marble structure, I had seen the paintings which I was talking about. I saw this. You have this fringed parapet, screened parapet or lattice parapet. Then you have this flight of staircase, then arches, some are blind, some are open. Then you enter and there is a very big hall with marble pillars, which all of I think Professor Chakravarti and you all have seen it. Marble hall and beautifully painted ceiling. But it is not a vaulted roof, it has only plain roof. And the cornice is supported by brackets. Now this is a second burj here. The first one I had shown you there, this is double-story bridge here. Now here you notice there is another chamber. And this chamber, now even now, the staff and the students of the university, they go and offer their Friday namaz. And they say that it is a mosque, but it is not a mosque. I've been to this place. It is not a mosque. It was a private imambara for the members of the royal family. The reason being that mosque has to have a qibla, main arch. There is no qibla here. And secondly, it has, on the contrary, it has a janasheen, where the alam and the tajia is kept. So then on that basis I said, this is not a mosque, but it was an imambara, a private imambara.
Please change.
These are the different pictures. Change. Change. This is the inside of one of the chambers. Can you see the shabby condition? This used to be a beautiful hall, and now you can see the condition. Now this is, please wait now. This is the sacred palace for the ladies of the haram. I found this structure. You can see me here standing, taking notes. This is the 7B servants' quarters. I requested them that they should allow me to get inside. And there I saw this. Can you see the Qibla here? Clear Qibla and Livan, from where the namaz was offered. So this is the mosque in extent is still now, but the palace is no more. And that's the reason it is a sacred place for the ladies, and that's the reason I call it sacred palace. It was not known as sacred palace, I just said it, sacred palace, because it's a sacred place for the ladies of the haram. They used to move there for their namaz. And this is the only thing still in extant, and rest is gone. Yes, please change. And this is the boundary wall against the garden. Change, please.
Sir, last slide.
मैं आगे कर दूं. अब आगे PPTs.
Boundary, outside the boundary wall. ये इसके main boundary से थोड़ा हटा हुआ है. That's the outside boundary.
Shabbat. Complete layout from the archives and my students. Two of my students, Dr. Amitabh Pandey and Santosh Kumar, they helped me to get this map. And that was cartographed by Mr. Karthike. And there we found that actually there were 7 wells on this premises. But now I found only 3. One is this, which is at the rear portion of Social Work Department. This is the most important well, and 2 wells are still in extent. They are one in Lal Bahadur Shastri Hostel and another in the Mahmudabad Hostel. I don't know about the other, 4 wells. Now this is a very important well where the steam engine was there. Just now I read out from Fenny Park's extraction that steam engine was there. Now please, this is a portion of the well. Please change. Can you see this? This well is here. Well is here. And there were, pipes, brass pipe, they have been removed. Solid
brass pipe that moved round the garden, that catered this water, pumped water to different portions of this Basham garden for the plants and for the chambers. And there were beautiful garden as well as fruit trees here. Chalo aage. This is the well. Next. This is another side of the well. Please show. Change. Now change. This is the brick tank where water was stored. From well, there's a ramp also there. From there, the water was pumped into the storage, what we call this tank, and underneath the furnace was there. And from there, the water was heated. Furnace is underneath this. And this is the brick storage tank. Such huge thing. And it is also decorated with medallions and everything. Change. Another point, this is a dilapidated condition of the well. Please change. Please change. Please change. Clear ramp. Probably they used to use bullocks to, pull the water from the well. Change. These are different portions that is still are to be seen. Change. There are rooms also, adjacent rooms. Please change. These are the adjacent rooms. Along with this well, you have adjacent rooms. These doors are not original. They are this rounded arch rooms. Now you can see the fringes, ribbon fringes, and then they have it has flat roof, the medallions in the middle. These are still there, rooms. Should be protected and preserved properly. Now this is the mat I got, the complete layout of Pachima. This is the mat, a very rare, important map. And here we found there were 7 wells. Now, I think this is over. Begum, and the king was little annoyed with her. But in order to prove her loyalty and fidelity, she committed suicide. And when the king came to know about the facts, he felt very bad and he decided to abandon this palace. Now, during the great conflagration of 1857, there were only 50 guards. Let me tell you about the gardeners also. Tasaddur Hussain has mentioned about it. There were 500 beautiful young female gardeners. And they were provided with 2 dresses every week. And they were not allowed to repeat their dresses in the next week. And if they did, they were fined. And the head Daroga, the chief gardener, she had a better dress, probably with, Zardozi work. And the tools, the ordinary gardeners, their tools, the handle of their tools were molded with silver. But the head chief gardener, the handle of her implements, they were all silver or gold and studded with precious stones. This was the chief
gardener of Badshabad. So during the conflagration of 1857, I just now told you there were about only 50 guards here. And at that time, General Outram attacked. And Thakur Singh Trivedi, he was just half a mile away from this Badshabad. And when we came to know about this attack, he rushed to rescue the 50 guards who were present here. Now, Thakur Singh offered stiff resistance to the British, but finally he gave way. And he, decided to quit. And he went to residency through the boat bridge. But tremendous damage was done to Badshabad and Moti Mahal as well. The buildings of Badshabad were razed, gunned down with a cannon and razed to the ground. And that is how Mubarak Manzil was destroyed. Now, in after this War of Independence, 1857, Badshabad was auctioned. And I have found the original sale deed of this. This Badshabad was purchased by Maharaja Ranjit Singh of Kapurthala. Maharaja Ranjit Singh of Kapurthala. And this was sold at the cost of only 25,000. In different books, it is written 35,000, which is absolutely wrong because I have got the original sale deed with me. So it cost only 25,000. And then an additional 93 bighas he also purchased for rupees 1800. So the total cost was 26,800. This is the total cost. So Maharaja Ranjit Singh got it. Then in 1905, Jagat-Singh Singh Bahadur of Kapurthala, he inherited this property, but the Secretary of State in Council purchased this property from Raja Jagat-Singh Singh to promote and encourage higher education among Indian subjects of His Majesty, the King of England. And then on July 26, 1905, about 89 acres, 1 rod, 17 hole number, 15 over 16 pole, approximately 90 acres, was again taken over by the British. And this property was later given to Canning College Committee in 1905 on annual yearly rent of ₹1. In different books I have seen, someone has written 5, someone has written 3, but actually it was leased out to Canning College Committee in only ₹1. Then the Canning College School was established first, and it was started at present Hossanabad College near Imambad. There the Canning College School was first established. And Canning College, as you know, it was named after Lord Canning. From Canning College, it became House School, and it was shifted to Aminabad. This Aminabad area is very old place. It had a beautiful palace, and that was built by the first Nawab, Burhan al-Mulk, Sadat Khan Burhan al-Mulk. His name was Mir Muhammad Amin, and that's the reason this area was known as Aminabad, and this palace was there. and his wife is still buried in this, what you call Jhandewala Park. It is still there. Then Latouche, when he became Lieutenant Governor, Latouche, he, destroyed those structures, and he, decided to lay out different roads from there. So that's how Aminabad was destroyed. Now from Aminabad, Canning College came to Shah Manzil. Shah Manzil means the Bhat Khande, the entire area of Bhat Khande, this Rayumanath Valley, Mahmudabad Palace, this was Shah Manzil's, that is King's Palace. King's Palace, Walid Shah's palace. So it was shifted there, and then finally, Lucknow University, it was shifted to Badshah. And that is how this Lucknow University came into being. And another thing, the British India Association was established, and in this, one man did a very important work, and that was Dakshinarajan Mukhopadhyay, a relation of Rabindranath Tagore. He came here, he was appointed the first secretary of British India Association. He was a student of Desrosiers, and therefore he wanted to encourage education in Harvard. So he was the first secretary, and you can see his name in Malviya Hall, which was known as Bennett Hall of Christian College. This is a letter I have got. Another thing, you can see near sociology department, you can see a grave, and that grave belongs to the two kids of Raja Sir Harram Singh. Raja Dilip Singh of Kapurthala had embraced Christianity, and he married a Christian lady, a daughter of a missionary. And then he decided to settle in Lucknow under the name of Raja Sir Harram Singh. So his 6-year-old son died, and he was buried there, and just within a year, his 1.5-year daughter, she also died, and both were buried there. And I had seen the stone tablet there, but someone has removed it as usual here. Now the Reminiscences of Lal Baradari and the inception of Lucknow University. Now, as a message to the young scholars, I would. The land is now adorned with different attire. It has all the vagaries of time and nature, and negligence of the people, but it still stands in a dilapidated state in the midst of the university campus. We must not forget that heritage is our legacy, from the past to the posterity. In fact, both culture and natural heritage are indispensable, as they are those sources of life that inspire our present perception of life. This is for all of you. These days, the shared culture, shared heritage, and shared responsibility have become a household name, as it reflects the cultural identity, and thereby it defines a people's national identity. It is therefore important to preserve our cultural heritage, because it not only keeps our identity as a people, but also it reflects and shapes values, beliefs, and aspirations of the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving the patient hearing.
I have a question, Professor.
Okay, yes, I will answer. I will try to answer.
You know, on the eastern gate of the Badshah Bagh,
Yes.
there on top, above the flower, I think, it says Jai Hind in Hindi. I was wondering if from
It was not there initially.
initially,
Yeah,
so it's a later
Later
You
addition.
think after independence?
Probably,
Yeah.
but it was not there originally.
Yes. Thank you.
Because there was no such concept of Jai Hind at that time.
Yes.
And the shared culture I talked about just now, this is very important these days. We must, now it's a present, it's a global conception. So we must share our culture to preserve it. Right from the cuisine, heritage of any form should be preserved and exchanged. Then only we can preserve, and this is our identity. We feel proud that we had such a long heritage. Another, just now I told us now, when Amjad Ali Shah, Ghaziuddin has probably not told you, that when Safdarjung was appointed as governor after the death of his father, he was offered Banaras. But he was a very intelligent man, he refused to take that. He requested that he should be given this Dwarf region. And why? There's one lady had come from Vienna, and she had discovered a manuscript written by, not manuscript, the Farman, written by Safdarjung. And in that Farman, Safdarjung wrote to his Diwan, Raja Naval Rai, that I must get Dwarf region, because Dwarf is the place where the heritage is still preserved, right from ancient period up to that time, is still preserved, and this is the reason he called it, Safdarjung called it, English translation is the last integrated culture of the world. Last integrated culture of the world. He wrote this letter to Raja Naval Rai and said that I must get this region. Politically also this region is very, very important, as you all know, that this region is very fertile, and from this region you can attack to different places. So politically important, but the more important is that it is a place where the culture right from the ancient period to that time was preserved. Thank you very much. Is it clear, madam?
Yes, thank you so much. Wonderful.
थैंक यू सर। इसे मैं अपना सौभाग्य मानती हूँ कि लखनऊ विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना के शताब्दी वर्ष में हमें अपने विभाग में इस स्पेशल लेक्चर सीरीज़ में एक नया लेक्चर सुनने का मौका मिला, जो कि विश्वविद्यालय से संबंधित है, जो कि हमारे जो हेरिटेज है विश्वविद्यालय की उससे संबंधित है। और मैं इस अवसर पर मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करने का दायित्व मुझे दिया गया है। सर्वप्रथम मैं मुख्य वक्ता प्रोफेसर P.K घोष के प्रति अपना आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिन्होंने अपने व्यस्ततम श्रमों से कुछ बहुमूल्य समय हमारे लिए निकाला और अपने सार्वभौमिक व्याख्यान से हम सभी का ज्ञानवर्धन किया। मैं विभागाध्यक्ष डॉक्टर शमा महमूद के प्रति भी हार्दिक कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करती हूँ, जिनके नेतृत्व और संरक्षण में इस व्याख्यानमाला के तृतीय व्याख्यान का आयोजन किया गया। और इसके अलावा मैं विशेष रूप से जिसका धन्यवाद प्रकट करूँगी प्रोफेसर अरूप चक्रवर्ती, प्रोफेसर रश्मि रेखा, प्रोफेसर सुलेमान रिजवी, जिनके सहयोग के बिना इस आयोजन की कल्पना नहीं की जा सकती है। इवन वेस्टर्न हिस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट की विभागाध्यक्ष डॉक्टर अर्चना तिवारी और जितने विद्यार्थी हैं, शोधार्थी हैं, उनका भी मैं आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिनके सहयोग के बिना, जिनकी सक्रिय भागीदारी के बिना इस प्रोग्राम की सफलता जो थी वो संभव नहीं थी।
अंत में मैं अपने विभाग के सहयोगियों श्री आनंद कुमार, श्री सुनील कुमार और श्री राम भवन के प्रति भी आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिनके कठिन परिश्रम से इस विशिष्ट व्याख्यानमाला के तृतीय व्याख्यान का आयोजन संभव हो सका। थैंक यू सो मच। शहर लखनऊ हिंदुस्तान का नवाबी हिस्सा है। यहाँ की हर दरो दीवार एक नवाबी किस्सा है और इस नवाबी किस्से लिए इस दरो दीवार के बारे में हम फिर से कोई व्याख्यानमाला सर से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि वो फिर से हम लोग को आगे देंगे। I'm sorry, कि उन्होंने आके हम लोग का लेक्चर सुना और कुछ उनकी जो उनकी क्वेरीज थी वो उन्होंने सर से क्लियर की और हम लोग को भी इसके बारे में पता चला। थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू।